record.
Fair. Okay, main event time. Let's get into this very interesting fight. Light heavyweight title fight. Teixeira versus Hill. Glover Teixeira, the 43-year-old out of Brazil. His record stands at 33-8 with 18 knockouts and 10 subs on his record. He's coming off of a loss, an epic, a classic against Yuri Prochazka back in June of 2022. A fight that he ultimately lost in the last moments of the 5th round. It was an amazing fight back and forth. Of course, Glover made history taking the belt off of Jan Blachowicz back in October of 21. Man, there's so much to say about Glover Teixeira, man. What a career this guy's had. Win or lose or draw this Saturday night, what a career. Standing across from him at the octagon, in the octagon, a guy who is going to try to answer the opportunity that is in front of him. Jamahal Hill, Jamahal Sweet Dreams Hill, out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, my backyard here. His record is quite different from Teixeira's. His record stands at 11-1-1. That is 11 wins, 1 loss, and 1 no contest. Of his 11 victories, 7 have come by way of knockout, and he is riding a fantastic 3-fight win streak coming into this title fight, finishing all 3 opponents, Jimmy Crute, Johnny Walker, and Thiago Santos. Okay. Omar, let's start with you this time. Give us your assessment and ultimately your pick of this very interesting title fight.
I'm a huge Jamahal Hill fan. I'm a huge fan of his fighting. I love what he brings to the octagon. This is one of those guys when I was talking about, guys like Sean Strickland who don't necessarily present that finishing power, that finishing instinct, the ability, whatever you want to call it. Jamahal Hill does not have that problem. Jamahal Hill goes in there and fucking zips things right up, buttons everything up, dots every I, crosses every T, knocks out every person. He's had one decision in the UFC, which was early on in his, right after his Contender Series finish on the Contender Series finish. Then came into the UFC, had his debutante moment where we see a lot of guys with a lot of promise come in with with a decision, something a little bit more lackluster than we're used to. Lights and nerves get to them and things like that. We saw it with Tatsuro Taira during his UFC debut, and then his next fight fucking demolished this kid. So I think we see the same thing with Jamahal Hill. I think he's had a fantastic run so far. I think his momentum is fantastic. The Paul Craig one, he got caught. He was working Paul Craig and he got caught, and it like ripped his arm out and ended up getting beat on until the referee pulled him apart. But Jamahal Hill is a real problem, man. He's a real problem. He's young, he's powerful, he's skilled, and he is not afraid to get into a fight. Glover is, I think, at a point now. Glover has never looked like somebody who enjoys getting hit. He's a man who is constantly trying to work from within a shell, for better or worse. And I think the thing that messes him up when he gets into these firefights is he doesn't have a safe way of getting out of them. His reaction and his intent seems to be, I'm going to turtle up, defend as best as I can, and try to land a counter somewhere in this barrage. We've seen Glover take a lot of damage in situations like that. I think Jamahal Hill is too much of a sniper for that to last. I think Jamahal Hill sleeps Glover round 1 KO.
Wow. I think Jamahal Hill does what Yuri couldn't do.
I do. And I think for one reason. Yuri is a wild motherfucker. Yuri is like a more controlled version of Johnny Walker. But
sure. Yeah.
The man is still button mashing half the time. You could see him just, he flows, which I give him credit for. That when I say he flows, it's, his movements don't seem very rigid. He, like, wherever he ends up, he's going to attack from there. He's not going to reset, go back to a fighting position. Like, if he overthrew his elbow, well, fuck, I'm going to throw a back elbow then because I'm still moving.
He's a little bit of like a drunken master style.
Yes, he is very creative in there, for sure. And I think that's what makes him the most difficult is his flowy ability. I think Jamahal Hill, though, is just more accurate. more precise, more intent on what he's trying to do, as opposed to a Yuri who kind of goes with the flow, if you will. And like I said, I think Jamahal Hill's he sees the bullseye. He sees the target.
Yeah.
I don't trust Glover's defense enough with somebody like that to survive for much longer, because Jamahal Hill is a fast starter, and we've seen him sustain for rounds. Not 5, I don't think, but we have seen him sustain for a few rounds. So, 4 and change. Or I guess 3 and change, technically. So I'm going to go with Jamahal Hill. Like I said, KO, round 1.
Okay, Mark, you're up.
So I guess after hearing that breakdown, I should not be as surprised as I am. But I was very surprised to see Jamahal Hill as the betting favorite in this fight.
Hey.
He is minus 135. Glover is plus 110.
So somewhat close.
Oh, yeah, very close. Definitely very close. I just did not ever think I'd see Hill on the minus side of things, but here he is. So I don't know how it started. I'm curious if it started the other way and bettors, made it move this way, or if they had always said it with Hill as the favorite. But, yeah, I'm surprised to see that. And I guess I do get it, even before listening to what Omar just said, because Glover Teixeira does get hit, and Jamahal Hill does throw fucking kill shots with accuracy. So I get it. And Hill's going to be the bigger guy by a bit. He's got 2 inches of height. He's got a 3-inch reach advantage on Glover. I'm sure that helps. He has absolutely been making significant improvements to his game. And, yeah, as I said, the accuracy is a big component for Jamahal Hill, because Glover has kind of made a living off of eating some shots and being able to survive and adjusting, especially early in fights. And if he's getting hit with Hill's power, clean, accurate round 1, I could see it go south. But, God, I just don't see how Glover Teixeira doesn't take him down and put him in trouble. Like, we saw Thiago Santos take Jamahal Hill down 6 times. And Glover Teixeira ain't Thiago Santos. Not even close. And I know Jamahal Hill has been training with Anthony Smith now and working on the grappling, and Smith is trying to give him some tips. But as Glover showed us very convincingly, he ain't Anthony Smith either. He made light work of Anthony Smith. He destroyed him in ways that were uncomfortable on the ground.
He apologized. He apologized to him for how bad he was kicking his ass.
Yes. So this man is a whole other level of grappler. And I personally just think the advantage is too big. Like, Hill is a southpaw. I could see Glover just being able to grab that lead leg for the single leg all day. And like I said, maybe Glover has to endure some things in round 1. I would say if I was on the Glover side of things as a fan, really I'm split as a fan in this fight, or betting wise, yeah, I'd be nervous in round 1. I could see Glover having to endure a bit and maybe tough it out before he can truly get to work. But he has shown us that he has a chin. Like, let's be honest, he's proven this time and time again, no matter how old he's gotten, that he can still take these shots. And on top of that, Glover can box too. He's got hands for days. Maybe not as dangerous as Hill as a knockout artist, but enough to hang, in my opinion. So a big spotlight in Brazil for Glover, and I think he ends up basking in it and wins back this title. I just think by late round 1, or at least into round 2, this thing starts hitting the mat, and it doesn't really stop. And eventually we're headed home with Glover taking the belt. I will say round 3 submission win for Glover Teixeira.
Glover should retire if he wins this fight. I mean, how beautiful would that be?
That would be dope.
Yeah, that would be. Would never get the rematch with Yuri, but...
Oh, and I wanted to say, think about the fact that Glover Teixeira is training with Alex Pereira every day, and you're not getting better striking looks than that. So I think that helps as well.
Yeah.
All good points. I am torn for this one. I feel like Jamahal Hill is a budding star on the roster. He clearly is a guy with a big personality. He doesn't mind being in front of a camera. He doesn't mind trying to be humorous or charismatic. In fact, he really seems to lean into it, which is really nice. I really like him as a new personality in the sport. And I'm kind of rooting for him to win, to kind of have that passing of the guard moment, because let's face it, Glover if not this fight, at some point very soon, he's going to be or should be stepping away from the sport. And I want Jamahal Hill to kind of have his moment of ascendancy in terms of like true elite status. Having that 205 belt wrapped around his waist would really just catapult him even more so. The tough part, as Mark alluded to, if Thiago Santos took him down that many times, and if Paul Craig caught him in a slick submission. Now, while Paul Craig is a much more, I'll say, like a athletic jiu-jitsu player, Glover is just, you do not want that guy on top of you ever. He's not the guy who's going to throw up athletic triangle chokes or arm bars, but his knowledge of jiu-jitsu, his mechanical knowledge is just too much. And Jamahal Hill, he only has 13 fights on his whole record. It really gives me a lot of pause. I'm going to go against my better judgment here. I'm going to take Jamahal Hill.
Wow.
I don't know why. I shouldn't.
So you sound so disappointed in yourself.
It's more of a feel pick. I just feel like it's his moment. I'm worried that Glover is going to be like, there's no Santa Claus kind of a performance. But I'm banking on, I guess, the mileage, the beating that Glover took from Yuri in that fight, and his age, hoping that he slows down a bit. Not hoping. I love the guy. He's fucking amazing. And that Jamahal Hill, I think he also is going to be bringing a lot of confidence and self-belief into this fight. And I'm going to say it's going to be his moment. I think he's going to win by knockout. I'll say round 1 with Omar. Fuck.
Wow. Yeah, if it comes, I think it comes early. I do think that.
I see.
He knows how to fight. He knows how to fight, man.
I see Glover like against the cage, like doing his Glover thing, and just gets right through, pops him on the chin, and just Glover's legs just give out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. I could see it.
Yep.